we get to listen to Ms. Blatt's rebuttal for 3 minutes or whatever it's going to be.
Thank you, counsel. Rebuttal, Ms. Blatt.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. There's some sort of twilight zone going on when the head of the ACLU says that schools allow heckler's veto, punishment for whistleblowing, any kind of reporting, any kind of criticism. All that matters is someone is offended. And you have the Biden administration and the school district saying, that's not true. That's not what Tinker allows. Now, Mr. Cole said the case law allows us to act like Soviets and the North Koreans. But since the Sachs opinion, the Morse concurrence, Fillmore, and Zelenak have left clear lines for schools and that heckler's veto are not allowed. And your choice is this. If you can choose to either tighten Tinker, or you can say, well, we're going to assume Tinker's out of control on campus, but we will leave open season on schools and complete chaos as to what their test allows. Under their view, all 50 states define bullying in terms of Tinker. You have the same email chain that would toggle on and off campus, and you would have the Tinker test applying when there's some on-campus speech. And I don't know what applies. I think Mr. Cole said it's the Tinker test, but he's afraid to use the Tinker word because it's scary, and it shouldn't be. You're much better off cleaning this doctrine up. Justice Kagan, you had amazing questions about school speech. Remember, our test is the audience has to be the school. So all of your speech, if it's to the press, the police, your pastor, your family, etc., none of that is school speech, even if it involves the school topic. Justice Barrett, on threats. The facts in Bethlehem in Pennsylvania and Bell, nobody knew whether that was a threat. The police were sort of involved. It is not fair to the parents of those other kids to have schools fumbling around. I don't know what this applies. Before we had Tinker, part of the threats were on campus, part were off. It was on the internet. Let's look at where she drafted it. Maybe she was to and from. Now let's move to the school supervision. Madness, confusion, and chaos. Please don't do this to schools. Mr. Cole said you could prevent swearing to and from school. That's nuts. You're in the dad's minivan? That's school supervision under their view. No one thinks Frazier applies there. And yet, all of a sudden, when you get out of the minivan, and I guess walking to it, but maybe it depends on how far you park, Tinker is going in and out of coverage. That rule makes no sense. There's no case law on conduct that aids and abets school speech. You will have a school speech petition. You can keep denying cert, but I guarantee the courts are they're going to freak out when Tinker has been the law off campus for 20 years. Thank you.
I don't really understand what she just said. She lost me like 2 sentences in. I don't, she was saying, so let's start with, the comment that they said that we're being like Soviets. She had mentioned gulags earlier. The thing is that kind of rhetoric doesn't work when the other side isn't actually using that as an argument. Mr. Cole, he said nothing that was super dramatic. In fact, he was quite reasoned. So it's just, with her saying they're calling us the Soviet Union, we're not North Korea, we're not blah blah blah. It just feels like she just went way off the rails. And then that was weird. That was a weird ending. She started off pretty well, but that ending was just.
I'm not sure I grant that much, but okay. That she started well. I'm not.
Oh, not in the ending. She didn't start well in the ending. I mean, in the beginning
of the ultimate beginning, long ago, in the far away beginning.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, that was. Remember how I just said just now when the other guy stopped talking, how that was perfect and great and illustrative and wonderful, and I was watching your face, and I know you're watching my face.
Yeah.
And we're both looking at each other like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? It's like, what is this? What is this absolute train wreck?
Yeah. She lost her
Cole
chill.
says the case law allows us to like Soviets in North Koreans. What?
Yeah, he never said anything like that.
We'll leave open season on schools in complete chaos.
Yeah, the irony of that is that I felt
afraid to use the Tinker word because it's scary.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
The irony of her point of chaos is that I actually felt that trying to apply her test and trying to apply the government's test would lead to a lot more chaos than what Mr. Cole said on behalf of the cheerleader, because his test is pretty straightforward. It's very simple. So,
It was a train wreck, Alita.
yeah.
It was a total, absolute train wreck.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if she had any credibility before this. I mean, I guess, but you know, there is a well kind of established rule that you can't win at the U.S. Supreme Court an oral argument, but you can lose. And this would be kind of what that looks like. You know, you can't win, but you can lose.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this was an absolute train wreck of straw man to absolute death, red herring, appeal to credulity, and I think every other logical fallacy known to man might have been buried in there. And also, when they said, like, you're going to and from school, they weren't talking about Dad's minivan, unlike what she said.
Right.
She's like, Mr. Cole said you could provide swearing to and from school. That's nuts. You're in Dad's minivan. That's school supervision. That wasn't what they were talking about.
Yeah, not
they were
at all.
talking
That's
about like on a school bus,
You're right.
not Dad's minivan.
Which is exactly. I mean, that would be supervision by a school. It's pretty clear because you have a coach there. You have you have chaperones ostensibly. But if you're just in your dad's car, dad's minivan on the way to school, no, that is not under school supervision. That is under parental supervision.
You could justifiably rescore your prediction for the outcome of this case just based on that last 3 minutes. It's like if you thought there were any votes for the school here, just went in a big ball of flame.
The only maybe that I see is maybe two going the other way. Maybe Breyer, just because he seemed a little confused by Mr. Cole's test earlier, but I don't know about that. And then maybe Sotomayor, because she seemed to be much more influenced by what's going to cause an effect on the students. So she seemed to want to like that one at least. So I don't know. Those are the two.
You sure you don't want to listen to the last 3 minutes again and see if it makes any more sense the second time?
Oh, I don't know about that.
No.
It's going to hurt my brain.
No, I wasn't serious because I don't want to do that either.
That was
that was a lot.
It was a lot of words. It was a lot of words going into my brain.
In the facts case, that's why Pennsylvania, nobody knew whether that was a threat. The police were sort of involved. It's not fair that parents of the other kids have the schools fumbling around as well. I don't know what we had before the Tinker part of the threats are on campus or off. It was on the internet. Let's look at what she drafted, and maybe she was. Now let's move to school supervision, madness, confusion, and chaos. Please don't do this to the school. There was a coherent point in there somewhere, I'm sure. I couldn't find it. Well, at least we get